Yes, so we're back. And guess what? During the break, Helen tried to stretch her vocal cords on one of Tchaikovsky's arrangements. The result, I'm sorry, I won't tell you the result.
Well, you're at it again, always, John. And I never sing. I'm not a singer, all right? But you always try my patience. Now, time to get to know a bit more about our next guest. She is an internationally affiliated and licensed human resource professional with over 2 decades of cognitive experience in human resource management, administration, global logistics, and supply chain management. An avid soprano singer and lover of music who mentors the young ones in her private time. Our guest is a life member, Women in Management, Business and Private Service, WIMBIS, and a full member, CIPM, Joyce Ayola Jafojo. Okay, I got that. Is currently, okay, she's shaking her head, she'll let me know again. Is currently CEO, Musical Society of Nigeria, MUSON, and they are, you know, at the forefront of promoting artists and all of that in Nigeria and Africa. It's such a huge pleasure, Mom, to have you in the studio. My apologies. Can I
actually set that trap for her.
For her.
Because I know that...
you know I can dare.
I know that... I know 2 things. I know one, Helen
Nigerian
cannot
name.
sing to save her own life.
Oh my goodness.
And
Oh my
2...
goodness.
So you're welcome, madam. You're welcome.
Yes, I'd never allow people to get away with that.
Okay.
Yes.
The name is Jafojo.
Jafojo. What does it mean?
It means fighting for
the
cowards.
weak.
For the weak.
You fight for
So
the weak.
if you say Jafojo, you are saying we are fighting for rain.
Rain.
So
Ojo and Ojo.
Ojo,
Yeah.
see the tonation, the tonal, this thing.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, madam.
Glad
I'm
to be
so
here.
eager to ask you these questions, you know, because, I mean, as a proud member of MUSON myself,
Since when that one happened?
eat your heart out. So now let's get to serious business. MUSON, all right, in any way, is MUSON inspired to revive the culture of classical music, particularly among the youth in Nigeria? What would you say?
In short, the question that you are asking is, what are the objectives of MUSON?
Okay.
That exactly is what your question is. And if you know, one of the core objectives of MUSON is promoting the education, the performance, and the enjoyment of classical music. And if there is anything you want the youth to be involved in, make it digital. Put it on their own everyday platform, everyday accessibility mode, and you've caught their attention.
Whoa.
So, and I know MUSON is positioned to provide and continue to bring in the youth into classical music. And that number is growing every day as we have facilities that are mainly dedicated to the teaching of music and classical music.
Okay. All right. So what are the challenges? MUSON has been on ground for a long time, and MUSON has nurtured, you know, so many artists. One of them on my fingertips is Dari Atalade, you know. Then he started as a little boy, and it was always a pleasure to listen to him, you know, watch him perform there. So what are the challenges over the years that you've encountered in promoting classical music in a society that is often more inclined towards contemporary genres?
I will not move on to the challenges first. I will first of all draw our attention to the distinguished Nigerians who even started this desire to enjoy classical music. The likes of Chief Ayorusiji, Mrs. Francesca Emmanuel, Chief, what's his name? Sorry, I missed that. But most surviving member now, our Board of Trustees Chairman, Mr. Luimba Nifosan, and one of our founders too, who we lost last year at the age of 104, Mr. Akintola Williams. You see, they have they brought what they love to do. They put their feet and their hands, their power, their energies into what they love doing, and that is classical music. So they are able to provide what is required for anyone who wants to appreciate classical music. One of the challenges that we have faced over the years is that there is this misconception that classical music is for the elites.
Is it a misconception?
It is a misconception. Because for now, with the young people, if you are really interested in classical music, the digital space has made it more and so easily accessible through different platforms, through softwares, through different, through different apps. You can have access to classical music. But the key, I'll call the key challenge we've had is funding.
Okay.
Funding and not making classical music, even the music education itself, easily accessible. Because schools would always struggle with their budget in being able to buy musical instruments. And you need the instruments to teach music.
And they're not cheap.
They are not cheap. They don't come cheap. So that is more or less like a debarring factor for schools to make classical music available to all and sundry. So they see it as an elitist thing. There is also that divide between more popular genre of music. The hip ones, the young ones seem to be more interested in. But you need a lot of cognitive knowledge to be to learn classical music.
It's like instant milk and...
That is it. That is that difference. So being able to overcome that, funds, and then the competing need for more important, I wouldn't call it important, that's the wrong word, more popular, secular, popular music. So that has been the...
Now, I'll take you up on one word that you've used several times.
Yeah.
Digital. So, in this digital age, right, I know you may have, taken advantage of that. How else do you engage and motivate young people to appreciate and participate in classical music performances, and maybe training programs? Because digital, like I said, is like a quick fix.
Yes, yes, it is. Muzon has made it possible and made it very, very affordable to come into the basic school. You have the Muzon Basic School, where you have access to different instruments, and you can learn music at very cheap and affordable rate. It's highly subsidized. So that basic school gives you the opportunity to grow from very basic classes up to grade 8 of music. So that music training can be followed and nurtured until the person receives the most professional standard. We have the basic school, we have the diploma school, and all these spaces make it available for whoever is really interested in classical music to get the most professional training they require.
And you're getting the support of corporate entities?
Corporate entities, I will not be doing any good if I do not mention, number one, MTNF. MTNF has been a great supporter of the music school from 2006, the diploma school, where they have provided funds to bring in students, 30 students every year up till last year, and now we can even take in 45 students. Scholarship, full scholarship that they provide for them. And you wonder at the talent of these young ones who come from nowhere, from nothing, from backgrounds that are indigent, and they come in, and when they open their voice, you stand in awe.
Awed.
Awesome.
And they are given the platform to express themselves. So MTNF has provided the support. We have also our dear T.Y. Danjuma. He has provided the support for the opera department, which he is like the sole sponsor for from inception of the opera department. So we also have other minor organizations, but there could be more.
Okay. All right. I'm very happy because I was actually going to take you on that when you said it's a misconception that we say classical music is for the elites. You know, I was going to come in with the fact that across board in Ajegule, in Moshe, in Orile, and in the deepest part of whatever state of this country that you find yourself, there are young people who are very talented with beautiful voices, but they have no opportunities. They do not know where it is that they can expose, you know, this. But your last conversation on what the MTN Foundation has done,
Yes.
you know, answered that question. It means that MTN Foundation has gone into these areas,
Yes.
you know, and not minding whether they're children of elites, you know, or rich people. They've been able to bring them to, you know, get this benefit. So what impact do you hope to achieve by reintroducing classical music into the mainstream cultural scene of Nigeria?
What impact?
The cultural scene.
You are looking at,
music.
yes, you are looking at people thinking that classical music has to do with only Western, Western music. But that is not the case. By the time we have new classical music enthusiasts, we have churned out over 400 from the Muzon Diploma School. By the time you have them out there in the industry, freely expressing themselves, they can pick up Nigerian music, work on it, and use the discipline and the structured mode of classical music, the background, to build a new culture of the Nigerian classical music. We have the likes in the past of Ayobankole, Senior, Akinyuba, all those who have done purely Nigerian classical music. And the impact is that you would also have getting them to have understanding different cultures. In learning classical music, they get to understand different cultures. And they can use that also to influence their own ability to compose and also to express themselves.
All right. So it's more from where it started and the intention, you know, it's grown.
Yes, it is.
Awesome.
Now, I want to move a little deeper into, you know, our mindsets, you know, our brains, so to speak. Now, in what ways would you say classical music and the education of classical music, how do you think it has benefited or contributed to the cognitive and emotional development of the young musician? Because it's, okay, we've agreed it's not elitist, but it's so classy, right? That there is no way, you need a particular kind of discipline to be able to do it well.
That is the word. That is a discipline.
Yeah.
The ability to be able to read music notes, understand music notations, has been known to help and enhance students who have done music, even in other subjects like science, maths, and arts. So being a music student, let me use myself.
No wonder I was so good in math.
Yeah, maybe that's the reason. So students who have done music have been known to excel academically.
Really?
Yes, that's data is there.
That's interesting.
All right. So we want to believe that Muzon Center is working with a lot of schools, because that's where we have a bigger population of the younger people. So how do you collaborate with schools, the universities, and other organizations to integrate classical music into educational curriculums and extracurricular activities at the moment?
In Muzon, we have programs that we work with schools in preparing them for our schools competition. We have schools competition. We have, during the school competitions, we have high scorers concert. We do different concerts. We have free recitals. So in doing that, the schools are told the curriculum to work with.
Okay.
And that helps them to train their students to what is required.
Is this annual?
We have annual competitions.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And when we finish the annual competitions, we also have, during our festival period, the Music Quest event, where we now showcase people who have excelled themselves at these different concerts. And it's always a platform for them to also see what their peers are doing and compete properly with them.
That's interesting. The way, I mean, I was just think. Sorry, Helen. My mind is now beginning to play games. Do we have something like a Hall of Fame at the center yet? I mean, for us to see and know a little more about these, you know,
Hall of Fame.
some of our celebrated.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. It's, Muson is something that, because of the discipline that comes with it, is very reserved.
Okay.
Because we wake up tomorrow, before you know, there is one other kid down the block who is doing waves more than what you thought you were doing. So to be able to set up a Hall of Fame, but yes, probably we'll consider that.
Yeah, I mean,
but we have so many of our students.
It just crossed my mind.
Yes, all over in the world, doing different things,
Okay.
excelling at their own. In the US, in the UK, Europe, they are
It'd be
all
nice
over
to
the
have
place.
them all.
Yes.
Okay, so as we prepare to wind up this conversation, what are your future plans, or Muson Center's future plans
Muson.
and strategies for sustaining and expanding the influence of classical music among Nigerians, especially the younger ones?
We will continue to make it affordable. We'll continue to leave our doors open for them to come in and learn, give them professional teachers, and we will continue to welcome corporate entities so that they can help us to sustain what we are doing. We are inviting, I'm using this opportunity to invite all other corporate bodies to come in and look at what we are doing and look at the life-changing stories we have in Muson and see what they too can do.
Okay. All right, I was going to go into partnerships, you know,
Yes.
with private individuals, you know, and all of that, but maybe that should be for the next time Madam finds time to sit here with us.
Yes.
All right.
I'll see how to drag her out again.
Okay, we could do this periodically, really, you know. And thank you so much. Call it a revival or an integration of the old and the new. You know, the fact is, music, like many other things, is currently going through transformation all over the world, and Nigeria is not an exception. And Muson Center is a key organization that we can say you have done so well, and you have projected this country in a very positive light. Thank you so much, ma'am. And our love to the rest of the board members.
I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I want to
viewers.
thank you personally for accepting to come and be with us within
As always,
such a short
notice.
notice.
I know you know.
Thank you so much.
you,
It's time for us to take another breather. This time, we will usher in Dolly Phillips, our in-house Keep Fit instructor.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere.